The following review is intended for entertainment purposes and targeted for adult fans of the series.
As weird as it might sound for the... That does sound pretty weird, doesn't it? Hello there, heroes. I'm the Orange Ranger, and welcome to another comically long review. I wanted to take this opportunity to explain some of the text screens you saw in the Dragon Knight videos, and obviously this text screen here. I recorded 4 videos at one time last week, but unfortunately it seems that I bumped my lavalier microphone in a way that was making it constantly rub against my shirt and pick up loud audio pops. A significant portion of the audio was ruined and had to be re-recorded. It impacts the 2 Dragon Knight Episode 2 videos, this one, but only for its introduction, and Trials of Ultraman number 1. Thank you for your patience. Kyle Higgins' original transforming superhero story could not have gotten off to a better start, doing quite well in reviews and even getting a second printing. The second issue is always tricky. The first establishes most of the characters, while the second has to both introduce some more and start the story in motion. Product provided by Image Comics. As a reminder, I was provided the first 2 issues of Radiant Black early for reviews. You might remember me mentioning that it was my interactions with the book's social media team that prompted my 1-month delay on comic book reviews. They had even sent me captionless pages for issue number 2 to review with. However, in a later conversation, they showed growing confidence in the sales numbers of their book by officially telling me that I may review Radiant Black in any method I choose. They're going to survive. I think they're going to do a lot better than survive, but that's just me. I responded to that by telling them about my new 1-month delay on comic reviews. Their response to that was sending me a review copy of issue number 3. So, I'm thinking we're on pretty good terms. As I started writing my review for this issue, I immediately felt like I had not only read, but reviewed this issue before. And it turned out that, technically speaking, I had. I had already written the overview style script for this review before getting permission to do my regular review style. As you may have noticed, I'm falling pretty far behind on videos thanks to back-to-back illnesses and a very busy park schedule, so I have decided to go ahead and use this script, just with some minor tweaks and the comic's regular pages. After this, I'll get back to my regular review style, starting with Radiant Black number 3.
Get on with it!
I'd get annoyed, but when they're right, they're right. Let's take a look at Radiant Black issue number 2, Better Off Red. Ooh! The main cover is simple but cute. Radiant Black snapping his fingers. As you might have noticed, I got my hands on a variant cover this time around. Listen, I've avoided naming this character, but the naming convention is rather obvious, so this is Radiant Red, walking out of an explosion with sacks of cash. The third cover is fantastic. A Rob Rice piece of Radiant Black looking on in shock as Radiant Red punches at him. Hey, here's a benefit of being late and the likely reason Image is more okay with me doing whatever I want. Issue 2 also got a second printing. It comes with a new cover, which I feel is homaging Spider-Man. Might not be the case. Radiant Black riding on top of an elevated subway train. At sunrise in Lockport, Illinois, Nathan gets home and tries quietly to enter his parents' house. However, it's to no avail as his dad is already awake getting ready for a walk. The two have a perfectly scripted conversation, awkward but well-intended, about the situation Nathan is in. His dad wants to know what his plan is now. It's a perfect, if slightly stereotypical, contrast between moms and dads. Nathan's mom was simply accepting. Of course you can come home. I'll be so glad to have you back. His father accepts him, of course, welcome back and all, but you're getting a job, right? What's your plan? Nathan hints at the Radiant Black stuff, a great opportunity to make a real difference, but of course, superheroing doesn't pay the bills. Nate says that's what the writing is for, but his dad gingerly points out that right now that's not paying the bills either. He has a very Occam's razor solution to the problem. The simplest solution is usually the best. Nathan was driving for Drivr in LA, and since that's a nationwide thing, he can still do that in Illinois. Nathan objects, dropping what's likely a very true critique of ride-sharing. Drivers basically get paid pennies, having to drive pretty much around the clock to support themselves. His dad doesn't really care. Those are more pennies than he has now, and he lays down the law. Nathan can stay as long as he wants, but he must have a job. This scene is fantastic comedy. Nathan's best friend Marshall works at a video store, and we see him doing this pairing sales pitch to a customer. A movie with a bath bomb. Once that's over, the cops come to see him. Then we get a message. Kind of looks like someone throwing up the horns, actually. A hand of some kind reaches towards us. There's a knock on Nathan's door, and he's gone full exorcist, floating above his bed. We need an old superhero and a young superhero. The power of Superman compels you. The black hole apparently can hang out outside his body, but he can grab it and reabsorb it, making it go away. He opens the door to the cops, who traced him and Marshall back to the bar and back to his house from there. His mom walks up, wondering what's going on, and the cops say that Nathan is a hero, and they came to thank him for saving Marshall's life. They say they need to take an official statement, privately, and she goes inside. Something is up with these cops. They are too on their game. The thanking Nate thing was an act for his mother. They want to know what's up with his powers and if he's working with the other one. They show him cell phone footage of, well, Radiant Red robbing a bank, not long after they encountered Nate as Radiant Black. After he confirms that the two are not in cahoots, the cops make him an offer he can't refuse.
Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
The cops suggest that Nathan could do some good for his community with his powers. Marshall starts confronting them because he's allergic to the police or something. Nathan diffuses the situation, and the two cops are then called to a car crash, saying Nate should figure out the best use of his powers, and that they will be in touch. Seriously, I'm calling it now. These two are not regular cops. Nathan and Marshall discuss what to do next, though Nate is focused on Radiant Red. Marshall points out that Nathan is making the black hole appear and disappear, kind of on purpose. Nate wants to go talk to Radiant Red, but they'll be hard to track down in a city as large as Chicago.
Chicago, that toddling town.
Turns out Chicago is only 37 miles away from Lockport, so Nate is able to do his Drivr gig there, and that gives him an idea. Using the gig to interview people and trying to find some eyewitnesses to Radiant Red. After seeing the wide range of passengers you get day to day in that gig, he finally finds a man who saw Radiant Red rob a bank near a junkyard. And the cops don't know anything about it because this dude has some skeletons in his closet. Nathan drives to the junkyard and is able to summon the black hole, grab it, and transform intentionally. He immediately finds Radiant Red, seemingly bench pressing a car engine with his powers.
Okay, I guess that makes sense.
Nate asks Red if robbing banks is the smartest thing to do with these powers, especially since he managed to find Red pretty easily. Oh yeah? See if you can find me so easily when you're blasting off again! So, Red took that easy to find thing as a threat. Nate insists he just wants to know what's going on, but his powers chime in and throw a car at Red. So yeah, he can sort of telekinetically throw things. As you might imagine, Red isn't thrilled by that, beating the ever-loving crud out of Nate. Nate makes a note to himself to learn about his powers, and then realizes that Red is getting away. Or has gotten away. With his car. Nate catches up to the car flying and says he's going to need that car back. Red bumps him and guns it toward a bridge, bailing, with the sacks of cash, from the car as it goes through guard wires towards a river. He's able to catch the car before it hits the water. Red makes to get away, but Nate's able to grab the bags telekinetically, saying it's on now. Red lets go of the bags. Slight wobble here, as Nate immediately seems to turn back to the car, pulling it back up onto the bridge. This almost feels like a misplaced page. This should go before he yanks the bags off of Red. Anyway, Red escapes, but without the bags. Nate opens the sacks and sees the money inside. I want to make really clear the weight of the moral decision here. It's not just that Nate doesn't have a stable job and needs money. Remember, the man he talked to in the car said that this incident hadn't even been reported yet. The cops don't even know about this yet, and they don't know that this money is anywhere near here. Nate could get away with this pretty much scot-free. This page didn't have captions anyway. It doesn't need them. His eyes tell you everything you need to know. The cops discuss the robbery when the bags drop from the sky and they see Radiant Black fly away. The bags have a note, "I think you lost this," signed with a black hole symbol. Another morning that Nate just gets home and meets his dad waking up. It's another great conversation, but summing it up, Nate admits that he probably should be working, and Drivr does let him set his hours. It's a perfect job for a superhero if you think about it. However, he insists that he needs to put effort into writing to see if that's going to work out for him. So he needs to take 1 to 2 days a week and not drive, just write. And his dad agrees. The ending is a cute little settling in as his dad just shoves him a bowl of oatmeal that he'd already made for him, and he gets an interesting email from Drivr that he had quite a successful night driving. Extra raisins for him. As weird as it might sound for me to say, I actually consider this to be overall a quieter issue than the first, a little more settled in. The only real action in this issue is the fight between Radiant Black and Radiant Red, but there's a lot of really good character work here. I love the interactions between Nate and his dad. His dad's tough love pushing Nate to pursue all of the things he wants. Superheroing and writing. We have the threads of intrigue with the cops who seem to be more than that. And of course, Radiant Red is still out there. Overall, I really enjoyed this issue and cannot recommend it strongly enough. Radiant Black issue number 2 gets a 5 out of 5. That's going to do it for another comically long review. Thank you, heroes, so much as always for watching. Now that the video's done, you can let me know what you thought of this issue, as well as my review of it, down in the comments below. While you're down there, smack that thumbs up button to let me know that you enjoyed this video. And if you want any merchandise with my channel logo on it, check out my Teespring store. Until next time, heroes, may the power protect you. After seeing the wide range of passengers you get in a day-to-day gig as a driving ride blarby 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 blarber, remember that the man that talked farts. More of a quiet, kind of settled in issue than the first.